All right, we're going to go into lesson 5 review. So what is the fmt command? The terraform format command is used to rewrite terraform configuration files to canonical format and style. This command applies a subset of the terraform language style conventions. So this will clean up all of the formatting in any of your configuration files. By default, format scans the current directory for configuration files. Is this true? Yeah. The format command scans the current directory for the configuration files, and it will go through and it will clean them up. Now, you can actually specify other arguments with the format command. So if you're formatting configuration files and you use the diff command, this will actually show you the differences. Another question. You're formatting the configuration files. What is the flag you should use to process the subdirectories as well? In that case, we'll pass in tac recursive. What if you want to see a list of changes? Well, you can use tac-list false for hiding the list of changes, or you could actually set this to true to see the list of changes. What is the command taint? The terraform taint command manually marks terraform managed resources as tainted, forcing it to be destroyed in the next recreated apply. When you're tainting a resource, terraform reads the default state file from terraform.tfstate. What is the flag you should use to read from a different path? Well, we just pass in taint-state and then the path. Give an example of tainting a single resource. So all we have to do is specify the resource and the address. So in this case, we have an AWS security group resource, and its name is allow all. What is the command import? So we use the import command to bring in existing resources into Terraform. What is the default workspace name? Every time that you create a workspace, you run a Terraform init, you're going to start with the default workspace, and its name is default. What are workspaces? Well, workspaces are the persistent data stored in a backend. So initially, a backend has only one workspace called default. So there's only one Terraform state associated with that configuration. What is the command to list all the workspaces? It's just list. What is the command to create a new workspace? Terraform workspace new, and then specify the workspace name. What is the command to show the current workspace? Terraform workspace show. And how do we select a new workspace? Terraform workspace select, and then pass in the workspace name. And then for deleting workspace, all we have to do is specify the workspace name after Terraform workspace delete. Can you delete the default workspace? Nope, you can never delete the default workspace. So let's say you're working on different workspaces and you want to use a different number of instances based on the workspace. How can you achieve that? Well, you just specify the workspace, and then we can use a ternary operator. And if it's equal to default, we can set it to one number, otherwise set it to another. So what this expression will do is it will create 5 AWS instances if the workspace is default, otherwise it will create 1. You want to create a parallel distinct copy of a set of infrastructure in order to test a set of changes before modifying the main production infrastructure. How do you achieve that? We can use workspaces to break up different environments. So we can have a workspace for sandbox, a workspace for staging, and a workspace for production. What is the command state? Well, the Terraform state command is used for advanced state management. As your Terraform usage becomes more advanced, there are some cases where you may need to modify the Terraform state. Rather than modify the state directly, the Terraform state commands can be used in many cases instead. What is the command that shows the attributes of a single resource in the state file? Terraform state show, and then pass in the resource name. When you're using workspaces, where does the Terraform save a state file for the local state? That's going to be located in the terraform.tfstate.d file. So for local state, Terraform stores the workspace states in a directory called terraform.tfstate.d. When you're working with workspaces, how do you access the current workspace in the configuration files? Well, you can use workspace interpolation. So you'll specify terraform.workspace, and this will basically fill in the workspace name. The command terraform taint modifies the state file and doesn't modify the infrastructure. Is this true? Yep. This command will not modify infrastructure. It just modifies the state file. You're building infrastructure for different environments. For example, test and dev. How do you maintain separate states? So you can do this in two ways. You can create a directory for each environment, or you could just use a workspace for each environment. I prefer to use a workspace, and that way you just have a workspace for sandbox, staging, and production. However, you can make different directories for each one of those and have them all use the default workspace in each one of those directories. What is the first thing you should do when Terraform crashes? You're going to want to look at the panic message. That's the most interesting part of the crash log. So the first thing to do is search for the panic message. That's going to be it for review. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson and keep on learning Terraform.